you're with us here on eNCA as we head up to just before 8:30 this morning. Let's continue to unpack the implications of all this violence and all this looting. It's been really a free-for-all that we've seen in the past few days. It's even continuing this morning in some parts of Soweto. So what are the dire consequences? Because we know they are coming. Business organizations warning that South Africa as a whole is going to bear the consequences for the past few days, for the weeks to come. There's been concern as well over the country's economy, food, medication supplies and security. Let's get reaction now. Always a pleasure. Mr. Sandile Zungu, President of the Black Business Council, joining us. Sandile, good morning. How worried are you about our country?
Good morning, Gareth. I'm deeply worried, as all South Africans should be. Not only are we facing an unprecedented crisis of food shortages, but also medicine shortages. And if the banning of Afrock's infrastructure is anything to be true, then we are risking running short of oxygen, which is critical for hospitalization during these COVID times. The list is as endless. The destruction to businesses, small businesses and livelihoods is now something that is called a reality in South Africa today.
How do we try and get on top of this, though? There seems to be so much chaos everywhere, so much miscommunication. We have the SANDF on the ground, SAPS on the ground, seemingly at hotspot areas, but as wherever the authorities are, the looting seems to start up somewhere else. It seems to be a manpower issue. So if authorities are watching you and I talk at the moment, how would you suggest they try and get on top of this?
First of all, people are becoming desperate. It's no longer just looting for looting's sake. When there's food shortages, people will scramble for some supplies. I'm not sure what they're looting if there's nothing anymore. For those who are in authority, they've got to work with communities. If you look at it very carefully, those communities which are better organized to defend their own geographies are the ones which have survived this. Unfortunately, they will also be hit because the distribution centers which supply shopping centers in those communities are obviously incapable of operating. So they've got to work with communities. What must I say about the capability of the state was at the level of intelligence, maybe national intelligence, maybe crime intelligence. They've been found wanting. Evidence is all there for everyone to see. So how they communicate and make sure that they've got reliable, live information that is helpful to the cause is for them to decide. But certainly we are crying for effective policing, we are crying for effective intelligence gathering and efficient responses in instances of crime spots.
Last question to you before I say goodbye, Sandile. State of emergency, yes or no? Where do you stand?
I'm not an expert on that, but what I know is that there's got to be more feet on the ground. 2,000 is nothing. If police are overstretched, hundreds of thousands of police nationally, 2,000 soldiers who are not really trained to intervene in cases of public disorder will be a drop in the ocean. We need more feet on the ground. Whether that can only be made possible through a state of emergency, that's for the state, the powers that be to decide. But we are not about the name, we are about the effectiveness of whatever measures that are being implemented. That's what we're calling for.
And perhaps just in the last 30 seconds, I'm going to ask you to put your economic hat on for a moment before I say goodbye to you. I realized I haven't asked you yet about the economy in this, not the economy and the markets of today and tomorrow. As we kick the tin a bit further down the road, Sandile, what damage do you see the economy taking?
The economy is seriously damaged, but the economy was seriously damaged for a long time. We as a Black Business Council have been crying for inclusion in the economy. And we knew that it's not sustainable to have so many people excluded in the mainstream economy. Young people unemployed, Black people feeling they're in the margins of ownership and management of the economy. So there's an opportunity to reset and to do it correctly this time around. No crisis must be allowed to go to waste.
I appreciate your time in speaking to us. It's a massive crisis. Let's hope some lessons are learned from this when we get to the end of it. I appreciate your time speaking to us. Sandile Zungu, President of the Black Business Council.